Well, for a closer look at China in the new year, I'm joined now by Zoon Ahmed Khan in Beijing. She's a visiting fellow at Tsinghua University. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, because it is a busy year ahead for China, looking at some of its major priorities. Let's start with the big one, the economy. What are the goals there, especially in terms of pandemic recovery?
So firstly, Happy New Year to you and your viewers. Definitely, Gerald, I think first it's important when we look at the economy, let's look at China's overall Belt and Road Initiative, because the domestic and the international or multilateral initiatives that China undertakes are deeply interconnected, I believe. So as far as pandemic recovery goes, China has made tremendous achievements. We just saw in a packet that even Beijing is just facing cases, but at the same time, people are very resilient and disciplined when it comes to tackling the COVID-19. And I think this is one of the major priorities. The economy, of course, I feel that when we look at China's BRI vision, that is very deeply connected with how China is domestically facing challenges of the economy. And we know that in the year 2020, as President Xi just announced, the target is $100 trillion will be the GDP of China. So this is a massive achievement, I think, and at the same time, we need to understand that China's way forward is not just one that talks about the domestic progress, but one that talks about sustained stability, that talks about prosperity, but in a moderate way. And that essentially means that the journey ahead is long, it may be tedious, but normal people have become heroes in our time. And I feel, especially when we look at China's multilateral initiatives, the role that China is playing globally. The most recent development was the RCEP, for instance. So the way forward is one away from politics and more towards pragmatic and forward-looking endeavors. And even if we look at other initiatives that China is spearheading or participating in, for instance, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the focus now is towards interconnected prosperity, dual development, which is a major term that's being used, is that countries, if China is to progress in the future, which is obviously the plan, then it cannot be done without the cooperation, development, and interconnectedness with the region at large. So these are some major fronts that we are observing here.
Right, so greater, closer, global cooperation. Now, on the domestic front, last year marked a huge and successful drive to eradicate extreme poverty. How do you see that carrying over into 2021?
I think, firstly, because I am from one of the Belt and Road countries, when we look at China's success despite COVID-19, because it has taken a toll on China as well, the eradication of absolute poverty serves as a great example for regional countries as well, for other countries that are fighting against poverty and that are facing unprecedented levels of inequality amidst COVID-19. So firstly, I think the goal for China is also to share their experience of targeted poverty alleviation. And next year, of course, the idea is to not just, now that eradication of absolute poverty has been achieved, but to improve the quality of lives of the people. And here, if we take a close look at the focus, it's also connected with food security is improvement of lives in rural areas of China. So this is on the agenda. And as I said, again, that the connectedness of the domestic as well as regional development is very strong. So for China, I think the goal is not just to improve the quality of lives domestically, but how can that be done with the region together? And I think one of the factors that people in the Belt and Road region at large understand is that for China, they don't have the luxury, unlike some countries, of being geographically separated or isolated from major regions of the world. So the overall prosperity and stability in this region, in the Eurasian landmass specifically, has major implications on China. So that's where the ideas of Idailu, Belt and Road, and dual development really come from, that we as the global community are one family. unless all of us are better off, none of us are. And this
Right.
realization, I think, is very strong among Chinese people as well.
Zoon, I just want to quickly jump in because we have only about 30 seconds left, but I'm glad you brought up the improvement of lives here because, 2021 is the 100th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party, and there's a goal there to build a moderately prosperous society. But some would say, isn't the country already there, Zoon?
This is exactly, Chinese people see that the road ahead is long, and they even acknowledge that it would be tedious. I think if I can say this in 30 seconds, it would be that Chinese people realize that they still need to move forward gradually, in a stable way, in a sustainable way. And one of the things, if I may add, is that now we know that for China, the China-US relationship is quite precarious, it's tricky. So the point, the domestic understanding is that the point where China can surpass the US GDP can be the point of relative mutual respect, relative stability. So I think that is also one of the goals. And if recent studies are correct, that may happen by 2028. So there are many factors, technologically, health-wise, obviously global health is major on the agenda, and continuously improving the quality. It's the standard that they set for themselves, which is, I believe, maybe higher compared to some other developing countries.
I wish we could continue on this, but Zoon Ahmed Khan, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.